This is brand new video tonight showing accused triple murderer Christopher Dorner shooting guns during his extensive training at the Los Angeles Police Academy. Well, that search for Dorner is still going strong at this hour, even though the ground crews at Big Bear were forced to scale back tonight. And we'll have a live report from Big Bear in just a moment. But first, 10 News reporter Dan Haggerty shows us the techniques used by Dorner, which have law enforcement across the state so concerned.
Good day, family. Welcome back to my channel, The Mysterious Black Bandit. Y'all already know I don't take anything for granted, so let me thank you guys for all your love and support. This channel has grown and grown and grown, and it's because of you. Thank you guys so much. Check this out. Y'all give me some suggestions on who you want me to do on my next video, and if I can find enough information on them, I'll definitely put them on the list to do. Alright, if you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Now, let's jump into this thing. In today's video, we'll be talking about an ex-Los Angeles police officer, the most hunted man, Christopher Dorner. Christopher Jordan Dorner was born on June 4th, 1979 in New York to his mother, Nancy Dorner, and his father, whose name is unknown. Soon after his birth, his family picked up and moved to Los Angeles, where Christopher spent most of his time being raised. In his earlier years, he attended elementary school at Norwalk Christian School, where the black people only made up less than 1%. When he was in first grade, he had his first experience with racism. As he was playing on the playground, one of his classmates ran up to him and called him the N-word. And out of anger and embarrassment, Christopher punched him as hard as he could, knocking him to the ground and then kicked him. While screaming and crying, the student got up and ran inside the school and reported him to his teacher. And as soon as Chris got in the classroom, he was called to the principal's office to tell his side of the story. But this didn't matter. Although he wasn't the one that started it, the principal gave them both licks with a paddle. Chris stated that the principal said he shouldn't have hit him back, but instead he should have turned the other cheek like a good Christian. From first grade to seventh grade, Chris will experience many more situations just like that, regularly getting picked on during school and after. He stated that during this time is when he made his decision not to ever deal with bullying or racism ever again, no matter the cost. During his high school years at John F. Kennedy High, he decided that he wanted to become a police officer once he got older. So he started to attend a youth program offered by the La Plata Police Department that allowed teenagers to explore future careers in law enforcement. After graduating from Cypress High School in 1997, Chris left California to go to Utah, where he attended South Utah University. Now, Chris was a pretty big guy, so once he got there, he joined their football team and played as their running back for 2 years. Most of his teammates that knew him stated that he was a very easygoing person that always had a smile on his face, but usually kept to himself. Then in 2001, after graduating from the university, he joined the Navy Reserve to serve his country. From 2002 to 2004, he commanded a security unit at a naval air station in Fallon, Nevada, and then served with a mobile inshore undersea warfare unit. One report stated that Chris was all about being honest and doing the right thing no matter if anyone's watching. In one situation, him and his classmate found a bag that contained more than $7,000 that belonged to a Korean church. And without any hesitation, they turned it over to the police. When asked what his motive was, he stated it's an integrity thing. If people are willing to give that much money to a church, it must be pretty important to them. Honesty and integrity was something that his mother taught him from a young age. Now, while he was still in the Navy Reserve, he joined the Los Angeles Police Department in 2005, and within a year of training, he completed the academy. But shortly afterwards, he was deployed to Bahrain with the coastal Riverside group, so he wasn't able to finish up his probationary officer duties. Once he returned, he was paired together with a training officer named Teresa Evans to finish his training. In 2007, Chris and Teresa were called to a DoubleTree hotel in San Pedro regarding a man who suffered from schizophrenia with severe dementia was causing a disturbance. Now, this is when Chris said he started to encounter what was all too common for him. His training officer's evaluation stated he needed improvement on his performance. And on the very next day, Chris filed a report alleging that Evans had used excessive force on the man at the hotel. He accused her of kicking him in the chest twice and once in the face while he was handcuffed, lying on the ground. This caused Officer Evans to be assigned to desk duty and wasn't allowed to earn any money outside her LAPD job. During this 7-month investigation of Dorner's complaint, the review board heard testimonies from 2 hotel employees and a port police officer who witnessed most of the incident. They claimed that they did not see Evans kick the man, but some of the aspects of the officer's statement contradicted the photos from the scene, and the man's father even testified on his defense. Then on top of that, the mentally ill man was brought to the police station and was given medical treatment for his injuries on his face. By the end of this investigation, it was concluded that his claims lacked credibility and his motivation to file the report was because his poor evaluation his training officer gave him, which could end his career. As a result, Chris' employment was terminated from the LAPD in 2008 for making false statements in his report and in his testimony against Evans. And of course, this was very disappointing and upsetting to Chris because he felt that his termination was racially motivated. By 2010, he appealed this case several times, with it first being examined by the Los Angeles County Superior Court judge, who upheld the department's decision to fire him. Then he appealed to the California Court of Appeal for the Second Appellate District, but both concluded that the LAPD Board of Rights had substantial evidence for its finding that Dorner was not credible in his allegations against Sergeant Evans. This would be the last appeal before taking matters into his own hands. On February 3rd, 2013, during the evening hours in Irvine, California, 28-year-old Monica Kwan and her fiancé, 27-year-old Keith Lawrence, were found shot to death in a parked white Kia Optima outside their apartment. Monica Kwan was a women's basketball assistant coach at Cal State Fullerton and also the daughter of Randall Kwan, a former LAPD captain and lawyer who represented Dorner's dismissal here. And Keith Lawrence was a campus public safety officer for the University of Southern California. Officials stated that this was a calculated murder in which Chris had to be watching them for months. The very next day, while being housed in a motel, Chris took to Facebook and posted a detailed passage that discussed his history, motivations, and plan, and this later became his manifesto. In this 10-page manifesto, he cited his termination for breaking the Blue Code after he had made an accusation of excessive force by Officer Evans. He demanded a public admission by the LAPD to acknowledge his termination as retaliation for reporting the excessive force. He even warned Randall Kwan of the consequences against him and his family due to his firing. This Facebook manifesto post made Dorner a prime suspect in the murder. He stated, "I will not be allowed to see my name cleared, but this is what everything is about. A man is nothing without his name." On February 7, 2013, around 1:30 a.m., two police officers at a Corona gas station, who were both assigned to protect the person named in the manifesto, was ambushed by Chris. He fired his rifle toward them, grazing one officer in the head but missing the other. Then about 25 minutes after escaping to Riverside, he pulled up to a red light where a patrol car with two officers sitting inside and opened fire on them. He ended up hitting both officers, but one officer named Michael Crane ended up passing away from his gunshot wounds, while the other officer was left in critical condition, but he survived. Approximately 1 hour and 25 minutes later, Chris drove to San Diego where he attempted to steal a boat. Allegedly, he wanted to sail across the sea to Mexico to evade the prosecution, but that didn't work out. But after all this, the manhunt was on. That manifesto and him being heavily armed had all the police officers in the area on edge, especially the LAPD. Now, in that same morning, there were two separate incidents that happened which caused the police to fire upon innocent people. The first was when police officers spotted a vehicle that matched the description of Chris's vehicle, was exiting off a freeway without its taillights on, and headed to the area of the residence that the officers were protecting. Allegedly, the police didn't even give the people a warning and opened fire on the back of the vehicle, striking 71-year-old Emma Hernandez in the back and hitting her 47-year-old daughter Margie Carranza in the hand. Then approximately 25 minutes after that incident, another vehicle driven by David Perdue, who was on his way to the beach to surf, was struck by a Torrance police vehicle, then fired upon without any question. Although David was not hit by any of the bullets, he did suffer minor injuries from the smashing into his truck. Later on that day, Chris's vehicle had been spotted on a remote fire trail located near Big Bear Lake, but when they arrived, his vehicle was empty and set ablaze. Hundreds of officers and task force immediately came together and searched the entire area. It was said that they put all surrounding businesses and schools on lockdown as they went door to door checking Chris. Now, during the manhunt, Chris's case started to catch a lot of attention nationwide and also achieved a hero status across social media. There were Facebook groups put together in support of him and trending hashtags on Twitter, such as "We Are Chris Dorner," "We Stand with Dorner," and "Go Chris Go." This caused the LAPD to reopen the investigation into his termination of employment to try to keep the people calm. But then the very next day, a $1 million reward was issued out for any information that could lead to his capture, calling his actions domestic terrorism. On February 12, 2013, Jim and Karen Reynolds, a couple from Big Bear, came to their home finding him living upstairs in a bedroom. They stated that apparently he had been hiding there since everything had went down. As he approached them, they stated that he was very calm and methodical. But as soon as he stepped towards them, Mrs. Reynolds took off upstairs, but she was quickly caught and dragged back with Chris. After a few minutes of trying to keep them calm, he promised them he wasn't going to kill them, then bound their hands and feet with zip ties, and stuffed a washcloth in their mouths before he took off in their car. Now, once he made a few miles out, he then carjacked another man that was driving down the street. But as he got closer to the cabin he was trying to go to in Angeles Oaks, a gang warden spotted and confronted him. The situation quickly escalated to a brief shootout between them before several San Bernardino deputies showed up. As they arrived, Chris began letting off shots at them as well, wounding both deputies, but Jeremiah McKay's gunshot wounds were fatal. Once he got inside the cabin, several more deputies pulled up and surrounded the cabin and let off a massive amount of gunfire into the cabin. As the gunfire stopped, police tried to force him out by using tear gas. But when he failed to respond to that, a demolition vehicle was used to knock down most of the cabin walls. But Chris wasn't coming out. Deputies then decided they had no other choice but to fire a tear gas grenade into the remains of the cabin, which set it on fire. Reports stated that as the cabin was burning, they heard one last gunshot. Once the fire died down, police entered what was left of the cabin and discovered the charred body of Chris Dorner, and later confirmed that the cause of death was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. The conclusion to this massive manhunt played out on television all across the country. All of Los Angeles police were finally at a stage of relief, but at the cost of 4 lives being taken and several others being injured. Now, although Chris was dead, his actions sparked protests against the LAPD all over social media platforms and at the police headquarters, with them objecting to the manner in which Chris's dismissal was handled, the reckless shooting of civilians, and the allegations that the police intentionally set the cabin on fire. And that will bring this video to an end, ladies and gentlemen. And I must say, this left me with a lot of questions. Now, I noticed while I was doing my research and watching documentaries on this, it seemed like the media and the police focused a lot of attention on him having a victim mindset from a young age and his lack of success as the reasons for him committing these crimes. Now, although I don't agree with his decisions and actions in no shape or form, I do remember a few videos of how they were treating African Americans back in those days. But that's why I want to hear from the family. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on all notification bells. And please don't forget to let me know down in the comments what you think about this. All right, y'all, make sure you have a wonderful day. And until next time, stay mysterious, my friends.